The last time we saw a worldwide conference on the same was the first ever ocean conference in 2017. 2018, we've picked this up with a bit more momentum, but we'd like to know what kind of conversations and policy interventions happened between then and now.
Well, thanks for having me. I mean, 1 year is such a short period, you know, to come up with proper policies to eradicate or to deal with the phenomenon of the invasion of plastic waste, you know, in the water courses and the coast of Africa. But one thing is sure is that we managed, you know, to raise the awareness of not only the population, but also the awareness of the decision makers, you know, to make them understand that the invasion of single-use plastic in Africa is not only an environmental issue, but it is an issue, you know, that have some negative repercussions on the economy, on the very, you know, drainage infrastructure, on the health, you know, of people, on tourism activities, and so forth. So we have won, you know, I will say more or less, you know, this fight on raising the awareness of the decision makers. Now the fight, you know, to have people, you know, changing their behavior, you know, the littering, dropping plastic bags, you know, in the water courses is another fight, you know, we need to continue.
Right now, just help us understand, even within the Abidjan Convention, how you're incorporating your mandate with the national mandate. SDG 14, just the fact that we're mentioning oceans as SDG 14 means that we are set to assess the deadlines that we've set within the SDGs, but this might not be met given the fact that we're now establishing momentum within in 2018. So how does the mandate now tie in?
Well, the mandate of the Abidjan Convention, you're right, is to protect, to conserve, and to develop the marine and coastal resources of countries of the Atlantic facade of the African continent, and including landlocked countries, you know, that have river courses, you know, that have the Atlantic Ocean as an outlet. Now, we stand here in 2018. A couple of years, you know, to reach, you know, 2030, to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly you mentioned Sustainable Development Goal number 14, and I will even go further and say Sustainable Development Goal number 14, and actually we have the goal number 1, you know, which has to deal with, you know, with the significant reduction of plastic waste. So we are far from reaching that goal, for the obvious reason that you mentioned, but also because, you know, we haven't yet succeeded in changing, you know, people's behavior. As already indicated, you know, we should stop, you know, at the point of origin, dropping plastic bags and other plastic materials, you know, in the ocean, in the water course. The second thing is that government must come up and turn this crisis into an opportunity. We have good examples in Kenya, in Nigeria, in South Africa, where the recycling industry is taking shape, where the recycling industry is creating jobs, where the recycling industry is actually creating wealth for distribution amongst the poorest of the poorest. Until we have the significant policy changes, policy responses, I agree with you that it will be particularly difficult, you know, to reach Sustainable Development Goal number 14 by 2013.
Right, a final point, we'd like to discuss the issue on challenges trying to implement this or creating sustainable development. On our end, handling such challenges, one of the challenges was that we always sat in forums and we discussed this, but there was no practicality on ground. But yours is the operation in form of competition to highlight the threats?
I'm sorry, can you please come again with the question? We'll get lost.
Right, the issue on challenges, we'd like to hear what the challenges were from your side for different countries trying to implement, whether fragile or emerging markets, because we know that one of the largest issues was that we always sit in forums. You're tackling this in form of a competition.
Not really, no, this is not, we don't see this in form of competition. Actually, it's a joint action, you know, countries together with international organizations, including the different stakeholders, to achieve actually the very same results. The fora you've been mentioning, are important, but I think it's time now that, we move from the narrative, we move from the speeches, we move from the fora to activities on the ground. This is where people are suffering of malaria. This is where people are suffering from chikungunya, from Zika virus, and we really need, to move from this part, to specific action, to address the problem. In terms of the challenges, yes, money is an issue. Our policy responses or political willingness, from the countries is an issue. But it does not prevent us, from achieving this objective. I don't see any competition on that side.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much. Abou will definitely be in touch to track progress on the fight against plastic pollution at a much later date. Abou Bamba, Executive Secretary of the Abidjan Convention.